What is up, Earthnoids, Spacenoids, and Jovians? I am just a simple new type, and in this episode, we are continuing our journey with Crossbone Vanguard as we begin our coverage of the manga, Mobile Suit Crossbone Gundam Steel 7. Last time, we followed Tobiah in his modified X1 known as Skull Heart. He and the Crossbone Vanguard team met with an older Judo Ashta, going by the name Greystoke. They also encountered new type monkeys. In this journey, Crossbone Vanguard will run into Europa Dogati, Bernadette's stepmother, who informs the space pirates of another global threat. So let's get into this. Universal Century 136. A Jovian fleet makes its escape. Everyone goes down protecting a Diona. Battalions surround the mobile suit and the pilot escapes in a normal suit. The battalions destroy the Jovian fleet. The female pilot calls out for someone to save her. That is when she sees a skull glow in the distance. It is Crossbone Gundam. Tobiah is the pilot. He begins taking out the battalions. An Aranya battalion comes in for an attack, but Skullheart kicks its head off, literally. The remaining Jupiter fleet retreats. Tobiah grabs the woman and brings her back to the ship, the Little Grey, and disguised as a transport ship. She enters the ship and struggles as she is not used to gravity blocks. But she suddenly pulls out a gun on Tobiah. He told her that they are Black Rose shipping, and she isn't buying it. She knows that the Crossbone Gundam has something to do with the death of Tetaneth. That is when Tetaneth, aka Bernadette, comes in and recognizes the woman. This is Crux Dogati's second wife and Bernadette's stepmother. While distracted, Tobiah kicks the gun out of her hand. Tobiah is taken aback when Bernadette calls her mom. They haven't seen each other for 2 years now. She is the wife that was the political marriage set up to be a peace treaty between the Federation and Jupiter. We said in the past that this is Bernadette's mom, but it is in fact her stepmother. However, we learned that the mother she was talking about in Crossbone Gundam, the one that gave Bernadette her curiosity for Earth, is in fact her real mother. Bernadette gives Europa a full body search. Nice. She tells her how she was planning on visiting her mother's hometown on Earth before she ran into Crossbone Vanguard. She essentially does a breakdown of the original Crossbone Gundam. This may seem redundant for veteran Gundam fans, but this follows Stan Lee's rule that every comic is someone's first comic. Something to remember for you yearning comic book writers out there. Europa wonders if Tobiah is her lover. Meanwhile, Yona asks Tobiah, "Hey man, what's up with you and Bernadette?" Tobiah has been going out with Bernadette, but they haven't really kissed. Wait, didn't they kiss once in Crossbone? I guess not since then. While mother and daughter talk, they get a red alert and Crossbone Vanguard launches. It seems to be the same mobile suits that were after Europa. They haven't done any repairs to their mobile suits. They begin exploding. They are kamikaze pilots, doing everything they can to eliminate Europa. She tells Bernadette that she unfortunately is being chased because she comes bearing bad news. Jovians monitor Jupiter space, and Federation monitors Earth space. That only extends so far for each empire, and there is a giant, unmonitored area between the two called the Gap. They happen to be in the Gap currently. If you get severely injured while in the Gap, no one will come to save you. For this group, it is better to go out with a bang instead of a slow death suffocating from loss of air. The Little Grey crew realizes that they strapped explosives on their mobile suits. Many of the Aranyas are missing limbs. Pun most certainly intended. The lead Aranya heads directly towards Tobiah. He unsheathes his beams amber and slices the bomb off the Aranya. A huge explosion goes up in flames. Back in the hangar, Yona tells Tobiah that he was reckless, but he was able to save the life of the Jovian pilot. Europa sees that Crossbone Gundam is on the side of good after witnessing Tobiah sacrifice his life to save the Jovian trying to kill them. He decides to tell them of the Jupiter Empire's plan. Crux Dogati was working on this before he died, and some Jovians picked up the project after his death. They call it the Zeus Thunder project. It is a giant colony laser that will attack Earth directly from the Jupiter sphere. They can't believe something like that could hit Earth, but it is very possible if nothing gets in the way. They have 350 hours and 24 minutes before the first shot goes off. They could shoot off 12 shots before it starts to melt. That is plenty to destroy the world. With only a little over 2 weeks before it fires, there is no way they can make it without a Minovsky drive. If only they still had the Mother Vanguard. Tobiah gets into contact with Greystoke, aka Judo Ashta. His Jupitress is halfway in between Earth and Jupiter. It will take him 6 weeks to make it back. He will be of no help to them. Tobiah knows the key to the Mother Vanguard is not just the Minovsky drive, but the beam sail sail or light sail. I imagine this allows it to function similar to a solar sail, which lets it go pretty fast. He thinks they should head to the moon to talk to SNRI. They need supplies for X1 anyways. They head to the moon where they see a bright light. This is not a light sail, but rather a new mobile suit. This is the F99 Record Breaker. The F99 Record Breaker is a prototype mobile suit developed by SNRI. Because the Flint has direct ties to Crossbone Vanguard, the Federation chose not to adopt the unit. Instead, they developed the F99. The main show is the miniaturized Minovsky Drive. What once required something as big as the Mother Vanguard now can fit inside a mobile suit. These models currently do not have the typical Gundam head, but it will be swapped once EFF officially adopts the unit. Weapons include an improved Zambuster, like the Flint, which also stores the Beam Zamber. This unit, like most of the Formula units, uses the biocomputer. The Record Breaker's miniaturized Minovsky Drive system and its wings of light might be the only thing in existence to get them to Jupiter in the time they need. Tobiah heads to SNRI where Otis Arkins yells at him. This character originally debuted in Victory Gundam and is the engineer responsible for Minovsky Drive tech. He blames Crossbone Vanguard for F97 leaking into the hands of the Jovians, who then gave it to the Federation. Remember, F97 is Crossbone Gundam. Because of them, SNRI has been outed for helping the space pirates. There is no way they are going to just give them their prized possession, the F99. However, he looks at Captain Onmo and says that SNRI will do anything for her. We got a simp on our hands, folks. However, they have to first meet with the F99 test pilots. They are Derek, Yon, Ulysses, and their instructor, Minoru Suzuki. At the moment, they have only 3 F99 units. If they take all 3 units, they would only have 3 mobile suits against the entirety of the Jupiter fleet. They aren't having it. They have to come up with a better plan. Tobiah is frustrated, but they tell him to look at this realistically. Even if they had, say, 7 units, which makes a squad, Tobiah has to realize that if they succeed in taking out the colony laser, they aren't making it back to the Earth sphere. This is a one-way mission. Yona and Jared are talking on the ship when Yona notices a bird in the sky. That is when a squad of Amakasas come in led by a Cornix. The Cornix is the result of the Jovians reverse engineering the X2. The final results were the Amakasa, but they reworked the initial design after Skullheart defeated it. The Amakasa resembles Crossbone Gundam and thus Earth. This takes the concepts while making the unit completely Jovian. Cornix is also inspired by Quavarze and has a mobile armor form. It also has a mega particle cannon on its head. Other weapons include a beam rifle, which doubles as a beam axe, a beam machine gun, and a beam shield. The F99 test pilots are given permission to launch. Tobiah and the team heads out as well. The test pilots go in, but Tobiah wants them to hang back. He doesn't want to risk having their mobile suits damaged. Remember, the Amakasa uses the Amada Ray biocomputer. Tobiah once struggled against these, but now he is witnessing the F99 take care of them no problem. However, the Cornix comes in. Europa says that this mobile suit is very dangerous. The Cornix tears through one of the F99s no problem. Well, only 2 left now. Europa tells Tobiah that this is most likely her little brother. He is half human, half Jovian, and the new president of the Jupiter Empire. This is Callisto's Shadow. Callisto's Shadow? Man, this is 00 levels of silly names. Europa says that if he is showing up here now, then he already knows of the F99 Gundams. Tobias shoots at the Cornix, but he is lightning fast. Callisto's Shadow is constantly switching between the mobile suit and mobile armor mode. The remaining F99s can't get a hit on him. It scrapes an asteroid, causing debris to fly into F99's face. While distracted, he takes out Derek's F99. No, not Derek. Tobiah rushes in, but the Cornix slices off Skullheart's arm. Europa rushes out into a shuttle and heads towards the battle. She tells her brother to stop all of this. He tells Tobiah that he used to think of this planet as a farm to harvest resources, but he and the Jupiter Empire no longer has any desire to keep the planet around. Like Professor Karis, so too does Callisto's Shadow think of himself as an alien to the Earthnoids. As the Cornix and remaining Amakasas make their leave, in comes Minoru in a Flint. He throws some debris towards the two. Now is Tobiah's opportunity to strike. He almost gets a hit, but the Cornix dodges. Callisto's Shadow decides to destroy the SNRI factory and all the F99 data. All F99s are gone, leaving only their mentor, Minoru. The F99 data has been destroyed. Everyone is at a loss. Tobiah is passed out after the battle. Bernadette's mother said that she could have stopped this if she was on Jupiter, but Onmo tells her to remember Bararona's words of living by one's beliefs. Meanwhile, Uman is trying to get Crossbone Gundam up and running again. Yona and Jared were injured during the previous attack when they took out the base. He is missing an arm and he won't be able to help them take down the Jovians. Tobiah remembers what he heard from Callisto's shadow. They're heading into phase 2 of their plan. He wonders what that means. He thinks that they don't have to stop the colony laser. All they have to do is reflect it out of the way of Earth. We get a slapstick moment where Onmo is proud of him, finally making plans like an adult. He talks to Otto, who informs Tobiah and the gang that after Mother Vanguard was destroyed, Anaheim Electronics went out to steal the remains of the ship, and they too have required Wings of Light technology. They tested their own version of this technology, but it was a failure and it burned up in Earth's atmosphere. They watched the video of a test of this unit. As they watch, Tobiah notes it isn't burning up. It is using its beam shield as a balut system, just like Kincaid did a few years earlier. No doubt about it, this unit still exists. Tobiah refers to it as Icarus. Otto gives them estimated coordinates on where the unit could be. They don't have permission to land on Earth, but they don't care because, they're pirates. Yar, bitch. Tetaneth isn't a part of the team, but she wants to go down to Earth herself. Tobiah tells her that they could go as much as they want after this mission. She seems determined to go. Uman shows Tobiah the modified Skull Heart. This is the X1 patchwork. The XM X1C Crossbone Gundam X1 patchwork is the X1, but scrapped together with parts from X3. Many of the parts are interchangeable. However, nothing was upgraded, which was possible as SNRI miniaturized the I-field generator since the creation of Crossbone Gundams. I assume this is because SNRI was outed for working with the space pirates. Patchwork has the same weapons as Skull Heart, including the Beam Zamber, Screw Whip, and Buster Gun. Europa shows a picture of her lover to Tobiah. He died by the hands of space pirates 5 years earlier. If he survived, her brother would have most certainly killed him. She says that Tobiah looks like him. Ew. Meanwhile, Onmo doesn't trust Europa and thinks that she may be a spy. Her brother's attack was too well timed. The team launches in the Nozzle. The Nozzle is a sub-flight system that can function in Earth and space, and can be a substitute for a balut system. It is closer to the AUG's former Mega Rider. It could seat 4 people, and has 4 beam cannons. Also, it looks like a jet ski. Otto is sad that all of the F99 data is gone. It will take decades to get back to where they once were. They have 5 days to find the Icarus unit and find 5 ace pilots. Europa tells Tobiah that Callisto's shadow is a special kind of psychic because of his brother, Callisto's light. The two have an instantaneous psychic link. Callisto's shadow is at the Earth sphere, and light is currently on Jupiter, so they could transmit thought faster than the speed of light, similar to the Ansible in Ender's Game. Before heading into the atmosphere, Onmo tells them that they can't find Bernadette. She happens to be stowing away in the X1 cockpit. Tobiah finds her, but they are suddenly attacked. It looks like Bernadette and Tobiah will have to do this together. And that will do it for this episode. And at first dive into Crossbone Gundam Steel 7. A giant colony laser seems like the natural evolution. What next, an intergalactic colony laser? Oh no, I'm giving them ideas. As Tobiah reaches the age of 18, he is starting to assume more adult roles, which is always weird considering he already saved the world once. Next time, while on Earth, Tobiah runs into the former Death Gale team. They will run into Callisto's shadow once again, along with L-Copties. And we learn whether or not Europa is a spy for Jupiter. But that will do it for now, new types. Remember, you could always build a bigger laser. Peace.